related things that we have to talk about. We also have to know that there are a lot of things that God has done for us, and so we have to be grateful. Yeah, it's always gratitude that becomes a watching word when we're saying our daily meditative prayers. I have to say, Mama V is here. Mama V, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Roland.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good
weekend.
Yeah,
we
great
were
weekend.
in Holt together over the weekend.
We're in Holt, the Volta Regional Capital.
Yeah.
And you know, coincidentally too, we had all these concerns and the wave of many natives, but also people of like minds who thought that the deployment of security along some of the border posts and even on the road, I think the main stretch, I got some of the hints subsequently that they had been deployed for some untoward reasons, they said. But,
I just want to share the beauty of Ho. That was my first time in Ho.
Okay.
Never been to Ho.
So which hotel did
incredibly, I'm talking about the town.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the hotel.
The town means that you should have some good hospitality place. So I'm just asking.
Oh, I'm not complaining. It was amazing.
Right.
My experience was fantastic. But I love Ho.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Great.
Every bit of it.
Well, I have to say that the management of Sky Plus Hotel, thank you for some of the warm reception you give me all the time when I'm in Ho. And then also, I have to say, Mr. Andrews Adugu and your wife, Dinah, I enjoyed the Banku and the Bobby Taddy.
I didn't get the opportunity. I didn't get the opportunity
Good morning to all of you. You are a lawyer. You work with the Attorney General's Department.
But I will go back to Ho. Definitely will go back to Ho. It's an incredible place. So good morning to... All right, let's set up for the newspapers. No, I will.
I wish that we had train services so that I'll live outside Accra.
But Ho is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just... I don't think I had any expectations, and I didn't even know... I guess from... What's the town before Ho?
Sokode.
No, then before that.
Oh,
where the mountains are, where you could see...
Madam, you don't know. I'm telling you the town before who is...
No, I'm saying that, no, not that place, but there's another one before where you just mentioned.
Peje or Peve?
No, not Peje. No.
Peje.
Yeah?
Or where?
I'll try and... I took some videos, by the way.
All right.
If people are interested, I'll probably share with them. But it was just the scenery. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think it's what you find in Peru and some of
exactly, and I didn't think that was... I couldn't imagine that was...
you should visit Amejofe, and then we have Afajatu.
I could live there forever.
I think so. The way you are.
Yeah.
You finish work, you go and stay in your house.
Just admire nature. Yeah. All right. Let's do the newspaper.
Yeah. We have Akufo-Addo joining us.
Okay. All right. So, hope people take care of your town. It's incredible. It's amazing. Love it. Yeah. Joseph Akable. Can you hear me? All right. Great. So I'm doing the Daily Graphic newspaper. Joseph would, yes, I heard that. Joseph would do the Daily Guide, the BNFT. I'm going to do the Daily Graphic and the Ghanaian Times and the Finder as well. So quickly, the Daily Graphic newspaper front page. President extends incentive package for health workers. They won't pay income tax for next 3 months. ANAS exposes COVID-19 scam. And the COVID-19 update as of June 27, cases 17,351, recovered, discharged 12,994, deaths 112. But the banner headline, acclamation of MPP flag bearer, Akufo-Addo Bawumia ticket for election 2020. Also, Electoral Commission 2020 voters registration exercise movement plan, phase 1 in pages 56 and 59. The Daily Graphic. In the center spread, promote achievements of universities. UG Vice Chancellor urges media. GES trained school hurts others in COVID-19 as GHS finalists resume academic work today. EU donates to Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority towards COVID-19 fight. On the back page, President inaugurates Suhum Overpass. A Northern Development Authority undertakes 2,151 projects. On to the Ghanaian Times now, front page. As EC begins voter registration exercise tomorrow, President rallies all to register to vote in 2020 elections. Heavy military presence in Ketu South is to enforce border closure, according to the Volta Regional Minister. Minority MPs demand withdrawal of military deployment to Ghana-Togo border town. First African female elected onto ICC board. Back page ensures speedy delivery of projects. Roads and Highways Minister, that's attributed to him. And the Ministry of Food and Agriculture trains 30 on grafting of cashew seedlings. The other headline on the back page of the paper. The last paper, I guess, maybe not, the Finder newspaper front page. Proclaim our good works. President charges NPP faithful 33,367 centers to register 16 million voters, and that has to do with the voter registration exercise. I'm humbled to be selected for the 4th time as running mates. That's according to Vice President Dr. Bawumia. And on COVID-19, Ghana confirms 9 more deaths. Roland?
Well, so
Joseph?
I wanted to go to Joseph, but let me just do... Joseph, are you ready? Okay, so let me do the dispatch while we get Joseph ready. The front page of the dispatch has a story. 4% of Ghanaians vote on ethnic basis. We also do have the breakdown regionally, continuing on page 2 and page 11 on the dispatch. Of all the major ethnic groups, the Greater Accra region has 18% Gans, 17.9% others, and then also we have Fantis, 10.6%, Dangbe, 10.3%, and it's expected because it's a coastal city, so you have all the coastal communities also. But page 2 gives you a vivid description of what it is. And this is to per the 2000 population and housing census, giving the statistics of percentages of various ethnic groups as following. So we have Ashantis being 14% of the voter population across the 10 regions at the time. Now 16 regions. We do have the others 12%, the Fantis are 9%, we have Bono including Banda 4%, and subsequently you'll find all in the dispatch. John Mahama's response to the Supreme Court on voters register was a live event that we also carried here on JoyNews. Yeah. Now let's also look at the Custodian newspaper. The Custodian newspaper has on the front page a number of stories carried, and it's a hope, I'll say, public announcement, and they're doing this on behalf of the Electoral Commission. I guess on our behalf, literally, because we need this to enable people get the right sort of information and then troop to the centers to get themselves registered. Okay, so they're telling you the citizenship criteria. If you're 18 years and above, you're of sound mind. If you're having some difficulties mentally, get it straightened up, you can easily go. Be a resident or ordinary resident in an electoral area, not to be prohibited from registering by any law in force. Yeah, definitely. So you need to know these. Other stories on the front page of the Custodian newspaper. I will do Muhammad, good morning to you, the managing editor. MPP endorses winning team for 2020, and this also we brought you live. We had Kwesi Parker-Wilson. We also had Latif on board. It was a great ceremony. The president, again, taking along him to be on the ballot or the poster, so to speak, even though he alone will be on the EC poster. Dr. Bawumia, who has been his running mate for a number of years, since 2008. Yeah, what great loyalty and dedication. And there was the other side, concerns about, not respecting protocols, social distancing, because they were not wearing masks at some point in time in the event. But notably, that it was a good event. I watched it. EC begins voter registration exercise tomorrow. That's Tuesday. And Akufo-Addo meets defeated MPP MPs. So if you have a problem that you were defeated, Nana Akufo-Addo, the president, said, don't worry.
He says, get over it.
Okay, he says, get over it.
Okay.
You win some, you lose some.
Okay, I don't know if that's exactly his words.
Oh, no, we're paraphrasing. I've absolved you of any blame game. So let me see which one I can do next. I'm torn between the Gold Street Business and the Economic Times. But Joseph, are you ready? Joseph?
I'm ready, Roland.
Okay, please. Please do the two you have, Daily Guide and the Business and Financial Times.
So the front page of the Daily Guide first, it has that story from the NPP event over the weekend. It says NPP ready for 2020, Nana Bawumia Jab Mahama. And President opens Suhum overpass also on the front page. EC registration centers pull out. You can see the details in the inside pages. And I will help Nana get re-elected also on the front page. And NBC threatens UHAS VC. And that story is on page 6 of the Daily Guide. We can look at the BNFT now, the front page. It has this story about digitalization offers brighter future for banks amid pandemic. From Heritage Fund, if necessary, that is coming from the youth. And Ghana makes history at ICC also on the front page. And data COVID-19 work rationalization decisions. That is also on the front page of the Business and Financial Times, Roland.
Well, that'll be it. We have to mainstream. Go straight away to look at the issues. Mama VNA.
I'll just quickly run through the daily searchlights, the Ghanaian Observer and the Daily Statesman. So the Daily Searchlight, government spent 20.14 billion Ghana cedis in executing key campaign promises. Our achievements are solid. Let the people know. Nanado charges NPP faithfuls. Akufo-Addo commissions Suhum interchange. NDC wants a comeback to frustrate Ghanaians with super incompetence, according to Dr. Bawumia. The Daily Statesman front page, well, pretty much I think the stories are similar. Bawumia pledges total support to Akufo-Addo. Let's go for decisive victory on December 7. Akufo-Addo tasks MPP after acclamation as flag bearer. More goodies for health workers as government extends COVID-19 incentives for 3 months. Roland, you were asking if there was... So I wanted to take the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The Volta Regional Minister has been doing some explanation on the military deployment to the Ghana-Togo border town. I thought we'd highlight a bit on that. It's on page 11 in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. All right, so here we go. Story says, the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yao Lecha, has explained that a heavy presence of armed personnel of the military and other security agencies in the Ketu South municipality is meant to enforce the closure of border. According to him, the number of personnel of the Ghana Immigration Service at the borders was now inadequate to enforce the closure effectively, for which reason other security agencies were assisting to enforce the closure. Dr. Lecha said this at a press conference in Ho on Friday to react to public concerns over the trend, stressing that since the closure of the frontier a few months ago to prevent the spread of COVID-19, some lawless people still crossed in and out of Ghana with impunity using unapproved routes. But you know, those who will not buy it will definitely not buy it. Is it a coincidence that this is happening just as we're going to start the registration of of voters for compiling a new voters register? Well, that seemed to be, if you like, what people are insinuating, what people are thinking. So they're trying to avoid people from crossing the border and coming down to register in Ghana. But we've also had the debate about who determines who is a Ghanaian. It's not a military man or an immigration officer who determines the nationality of any person, particularly the military. They don't have the capacity to do that. But we'll see. That's the explanation from the Volta Regional Minister. Yeah?
Well, we know that the reality of the situation is that the people, because of the seemingly, whether it's blurry lines between the two countries, who live on opposite sides of the border, they live their life on opposite sides of the border. So it becomes quite a thorny issue when you intensify or deploy more personnel than usual. It was a situation a month or two ago, and that's the main concern. Well, Joseph, any pick you want to look at, or you also want to make commentary on?
I think the Volta region story, I mean, what is actually raising issues is that interview or press conference, if I'm to put it that way, that Katie Amon spoke to. And it's been the main bone of contention. I've heard from the Interior Minister as well. I think our security agencies, in their quest to enforce the law and protect our interests and everything, I mean, they should be mindful of the political space we operate in so that such actions are taken in a manner that does not create the wrong impression. Because it was after the news had gone out that we got the explanation that we got later on. And so people will say that, okay, that's an afterthought, you're not coming to do this and that. And so, I mean, I think it's a lesson that they should learn. And I agree with Mama V's point about the fact that being a Ghanaian is not something that can be determined simply by the fact that you live in the Volta region, or that we say that, okay, you're not Ghanaian because you're crossing the border and coming in. There are people who live in various parts of the world who are all Ghanaians, so it doesn't matter whether someone is outside and is coming into it or not. And that is what we shouldn't leave in the hands of security agents to try and prevent people, else we end up having a very chaotic situation in that part of the country.
While we're having all this diplomatic talk, we all do know that we had the lockdown starting in the middle of March. And since then, it depends on who you are. You could travel. And I did do some travel within the period. And so I'll say from March, I've been to the Volta region a number of times, at least 2 times. Yesterday was a 3rd time. And there were no barricades at Sogakope, for example. You would not be asked to maybe show a number of your identities, etc.
If you're crossing to where?
If you're going through, because there's a barricade currently at Sogakope that I got reports from.
Where the customs people are stationed?
Yes, just closer to that point in time. And usually they would not stop you and try to do, they will just do the normal routine, because when you drive through, then it's a normal routine. So when you intensify that a week or 2 before a major exercise, then it begins to raise eyebrows about what really is the intention. Nobody is saying that you shouldn't do what you have to do. But if it's closer to a very sensitive period when we do know that there is likely to be the muddying of the waters, either by political statements or also taking advantage of the situation by political actors, then it means that the explanations after, when concerns had been raised by citizens of the area, would not be taken on the face level. And that is a key concern for everybody else. And we do have many border towns across Ghana.
Is the situation the same? Are they beefing security question. Everywhere?
And I've asked a number of people too, who are either my friends who work in the immigration service, and they said, no, it was not the situation at the time. So the government's commentary and official position may come in handy, but then what is on the ground based on the information that we get also does not speak to the same level, even though the explanation is that it's COVID. So I don't know.
If it's COVID, we have a lot of border towns, and we expect that same level of security everywhere if this is strictly COVID.
Yeah, because for me, the concern is that if, let's say you have a group of people in communities who are supposed to register, and you ask them to go through barricades and things, they will just say, look, I'm getting frustrated, so I may not go and register. That's the whole point.
So,
so that's why people are saying that maybe
intimidating and frustrating to
because
persons.
if you put frustration on my way, for example, it's like bureaucracy. You want to go and buy or get a passport, and they put a lot of bureaucracy.
And if you recall, during the Ayawa So West Wagon Commission's hearing, I mean, the commission made that point about the fact that the election process is such that you shouldn't have armed men carrying guns in an intimidating manner that will deter people from even wanting to go and vote. And so that issue came up strongly. And so intimidation is a real issue when people feel that, I mean, when they walk to the police stations to register, they may be threatened or maybe turned away with violence and stuff. They want to stay away.
Exactly.
But then again, on the registration itself, I mean, you know, there's a pending case that's will be coming up this morning.
The Bamba versus...
Yes.
This is the Ernest Nogbe case. So yes, I see that you've been speaking to the lawyer on this, and he's insisting that CI 91 has not been revoked. And so if the exercise goes ahead, it means we'll have CI 126 and 91 all effective.
Exactly. And so he says that, I mean, unless the CI 91 is revoked, because he says if you look at CI 126, it doesn't say anything about the fact that the EC intends to compile a register under it. It only comes to amend the registration requirements under CI 91. And so his point is that CI 91 is still in force, and until it's revoked, you cannot use the CI 126 as basis for compilation of a new register. And so some say it's an academic endeavor, but we'll be looking for it at the Adenta High Court this morning as you'll be pushing for an injunction. And I mean, the expectation is that the AEC is to oppose that particular application. The AG is not a party to this particular case. by the way. So we'll be following that one this morning to see how it turns out.
But the Deputy AG said something to you with regards to this matter today.
Yes, his point was that the Supreme Court, in its final order, had stated that their decision applies to similar or same cases. And so, as far as he's concerned, he expects that the decision will be brought to the attention of the judge, and the judge will have no option than to dismiss this particular case. But Dr. Bamba's point of view is that his case is not same or similar to the Supreme Court one, in that one asks the Supreme Court to interpret whether the AC has the power to compile a new register and whether or not it's right that they are excluding certain forms of identification. His point is they are going for statutory interpretation from the High Court enforcement, saying that CI 126 does not allow the compilation of a new register. And so he hopes that the courts will agree with him. But all those are matters that will be argued out this morning.
Well, we'll wait to see. In the meantime, we're all set to begin the exercise on Tuesday, and we know the president will be speaking. Ahead of the exercise, his communications director says we will know the exact time the president will be speaking on matters relating to the voter registration sometime today.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Oh, we'll bring you up to speed with the latest today. We'll have some great interactions right here. We'll look at how schools are reopening at basic level, junior high schools. And then we also have a conversation with the Minister for Information. Look, all these that we said are commentary. So we'll put these questions to him and see what he says formally to be the response of government. Mama V.
We have a minute to do myjoyonline.com, or we take a breather and we'll bring you sports. Lots of action over the weekend. Benedict will be joining us, but let's do myjoyonline.com, Roland. Main story on the homepage. Stop EC from compiling new voters register. Abdul Basit Bamba to High Court. And Joseph Akable is giving us a story as well. Akufo-Addo extends incentive package for health workers to September, additional 3 months. That's a good one. I told all health workers close to me yesterday. They were not listening. So I said, look, child, this is the reality. You're getting more money. Even though they seem to have some concerns about those who have been categorized as frontline workers and non-frontline workers. So some may not get full. Mahama also condemns shameless abuse of state power over military siege of Volta, other regions. Akufo-Addo to address nation on voters registration exercise. Volta region MP stormed Ketu South over military intimidation. And deployment of military to Volta, OT regions creates suspicion. That's coming from former President Rawlings. And then over 120 students from Adiembra Senior High School allegedly sacked for breaching COVID-19 protocols. Yeah, it's the way we tend to apply the law, the regulation that become a concern. So in some spheres, immediately we have some of these regulations in place, implemented and sometimes not implemented in some regard. Kofi Abochi appeals to Supreme Court justices to strive to change public perception of its political bias. And your selective enforcement of the law is detrimental to national unity. Apak to Akufo-Addo, just what I was saying, in terms of how the law is implemented related to COVID. And in that statement he issued, he talked about the church leaders initially who were arrested and what has happened to current actions of political parties convening, particularly the MPP that had recent events, and it looks like the law is not implemented adequately. All right, so we have some sports stories. Mamavi had been monitoring while he was in Ho, all the sports pages. So I can't say listen, when you find yourself in Ho, you just relax and enjoy Ho.
So you decide not, so you're not monitoring?
That's why Benedict...
So you're disgracing me this one.
That's why Benedict will join us. Well, I got updated with Real Madrid. And then Manchester City is playing Arsenal in the FA Cup, right?
And Chelsea is playing Manchester United.
Yeah, United.
I don't know, because you know that we'll win, so...
Well, whatever.
I know.
Do you want to put some cash on it?
The thing is that when your season is gone bad, you accept whatever.
Do you want to put some cash on it?
I'm saying that the point is, when your season has gone bad, you accept whatever.
What you're saying is just talk. Do you want to put money on it?
We're taking a break. I know Joseph loves Barcelona, so doesn't like talking about England and this thing.
Joseph Akable, we'll wait for your reports from the courts. Joseph will keep us updated with what happens at the High Court today. I guess that's a place of interest because of the decision that they have to make today. And we've got the registration exercise, would it happen or not, based on this decision. But first, we'll bring you sports, and then we'll get down and discuss the reopening of the junior high schools. The final year students are going back to school today. How does it look like on the ground? All of that here on the show. Stay with us.